Good morning, everybody. My name is Dale Sims, and I'm a veteran storm chaser and a storm chaser for NOAA here. And I wanted to make a quick video here on today's severe weather setup here across the Central Great Plains, Northern Plains, Upper Midwest, and even including portions of here the Northeast. All right, so let's go current meta-analysis here. Take a look at our surface observations here, current surface observations, and here across the Upper Midwest, very warm. And moist air is already in place here at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. Here across the Upper Midwest, we have a few ongoing morning storm complexes here moving across Wisconsin and about to enter Michigan here, and that will continue to move out here, and then we'll take a look back here across these same regions for severe weather development today. All right, here, more on those two storm complexes here. Okay, the first one here is this whole complex is decaying. It's becoming more outflow dominant, but it's still trying to pack somewhat of a little punch here with a few severe thunderstorm warnings being triggered here. But overall, this complex is decaying. It's drying up here, and that's what is expected there across Wisconsin right now. All right, now taking a look here further east across Michigan. We have the line of stronger storms here that are across the upper Great Lakes here itself, and that is going to continue to move into northern Michigan, and this is why we have a severe thunderstorm watch here until 3 p.m. Here local time today. And then this red outline is what we call a mesoscale discussion from the NOAA Storm Prediction Center. So this means that Storm Prediction Center forecasters that are on shift right now, they're monitoring this line of storms. They're giving a short-term outlook of what to expect from these lines of storms, and if you live across northern Michigan and central Michigan. So that is what that is about there. Okay, now taking a look here at our severe weather outlook today. Okay, just synoptically here at the overscope, the overview here. This is a typical summer-like severe weather setup here. Okay, northern plains, upper Midwest, seeing a decent chance of severe weather today, dropping back down into the Central Great Plains and even portions of the Northeast here. Okay, so let's first focus in on the highest confidence of area to see intense severe weather today. Okay, and that basically goes from southern Minnesota to northern Michigan. Okay, this is where we can see, intense damaging winds, intense hail. And here is our wind risk today. So it is a, really decent chance of seeing 65, 75 plus mile per hour damaging winds here. And the hail threat will be better off here on the western portions of the enhanced risk area where storms remain more discrete, and in more supercell mode here. And again, I'll dive more into the specifics here and what we could see here in a minute. And then the tornado risk here, this is where the best tornado risk is today, or really the only tornado risk is here across Wisconsin here. And the Storm Prediction Center did add a 5% hatched risk here. That's this black outline that you see here. So this is where the area that is favored, that there could be, an isolated EF2 or stronger tornado. Okay, and again, this is going to be highly dependent on storms remaining discrete. How long do they just stay discrete before growing upscale? And again, I'm going to show you all that here, okay? And again, damaging wind risk here, possible across the north portions of upstate New York State. Here, Central Great Plains. Again, another hatched area, 465 plus mile per hour winds. And so, and then with the hail, similar scenario there. Okay. All right. So here I was looking ahead here and kind of jumped ahead here on myself. So this is at 3 p.m. today, and that morning complex that that you saw here across portions of Wisconsin. Once the daytime heating kicks in and all the ingredients start to overlap, it could re-intensify that line. That's what's moving off into Michigan. And again, this is a pretty potent line of storms. And so, again, damaging winds is going to be the number one, primary risk. But then even on the south side, you got to watch here for, again, yeah, tornado development, their rotation. So now, I just said a minute ago that the best, hail risk is off to the west, on the western portions of the enhanced risk area across southern Minnesota into Wisconsin. And you see, and this is by 3 p.m. today, we got new area of convection developing here. And let's go at about 5 p.m. All right, let's zoom in. Okay, what the radar could look like from Minneapolis south. Okay, we got supercells, intense supercells forming here. And those little black, hatch areas there, a lot of people think that, those could be warnings or a warning storm. No, these are what is showing that there's going to be some spin in the atmosphere, and spin specifically with those storms that increase the hail risk and also increase somewhat the tornado risk there. So, but that's what this is mainly going to be a large hail, 2-inch hail larger threat here across southern Minnesota early in the outlook period here for later this afternoon. Then storms grow upscale by 7 p.m. and it now becomes more upscale into a line. And again, you guys still watch the leading edge of this line for intense hail, spin ups, that kind of thing. And then by 10 p.m., we're looking at multiple rounds of strong to intense severe storms stretching from southern Minnesota to northern central Michigan. Okay, either 1 round, 2 round, 3 round, 4 round here. And then there's even some development back here. So, back here. So, again, that's something to watch here today. Across the central Great Plains, real quick here, this is by 7 p.m. this evening. Central Great Plains to the Texas Panhandle. Here we could have a few storms that fire here and pose mainly a damaging wind and hail threat. Not concerned with the tornado threat. There's not a lot of spin in the atmosphere across the central Great Plains today, or even the Texas Panhandle. So this is going to be predominantly a damaging wind and hail setup for you. Okay, now take a look here at our current pattern. All right. So this pattern that we've been in for days, and then like I said earlier, this is a typical summer-like pattern where you got high pressure that builds across the southern tier of the country, which promotes hotter temperatures, higher humidity here, and it kind of acts as like a heat dome, okay? Because you'd be baking for days. Now across the west here, you see this is where the active storm pattern is here. Coming out of the Pacific Northwest, dropping down, and then going up into Central Great Plains, Northern Plains, Upper Midwest. And this is where you see this is basically what I like to call the highway here, the interstate for storm systems, okay? And this is what creates a wetter, stormier period across these areas. And that's why the Northern Plains, Upper Midwest, has been in consecutive days of seeing severe weather, setups and storm setups here. Okay, so this whole pattern is going to continue through the 4th of July weekend, and then by the end of the 4th of July weekend, we could see this pattern start to break down here. Okay, now we're taking a look here into after 4th of July weekend, going into the middle of July, all right, which shows high pressure building here across the desert southwest, and the active storm pattern going from the Pacific Northwest into the Northern Plains, dropping down into the Central Plains, Southern Plains, Missouri Valley, and in even portions of the Mid-Atlantic. So what this tells me, just from a synoptic, just base level scale here, is that across the desert southwest, here where this high pressure looks to develop after the 4th of July weekend, going into the middle of July, here you're going to continue to see, hot temperatures here, dry conditions, elevating fire fuels. And again, across the desert southwest, we've seen multiple consecutive days of elevated, critical, even extreme fire fuels here for wildfires. So, and these trends are only likely going to continue here into the middle of July, unfortunately. All right. However, here across the Pacific Northwest, Northern Plains, Central Plains, Southern Plains here, this is where we can start to see more opportunities for rainfall here and even severe weather. Because people, especially here in Kansas City, when's our next decent chance of rain? When are we going to see a next opportunity for severe weather? Well, The straight, simple answer is not until after the 4th of July weekend because of the current pattern that we're in. The current pattern that we're in does not favor a lot of moisture here across the Central Plains, and that's why even today across the Central Great Plains, western Kansas, all right, there's not going to be a lot of widespread storms because, again, with this heat dome that's in place, it's hard to get moisture to support for storms to develop and the lack of shear across these regions. So not until after the 4th of July weekend should we start to see the pattern flip and kind of favor more of the plains here in northern plains for a wetter, stormier period. Still remaining warm or hot because, again, we are in summer months here. So if you're in the Central Plains, if you're here in Kansas City, you got to wait till then, at the very least. Okay, I do see it coming here down the line, but we're going to have to wait a few more days and have to handle this extreme heat here. So if you live in an area for severe weather today, no matter if you are in a marginal risk, slight risk, enhanced risk, doesn't matter. If you are in a risk for severe weather today, have your severe weather safety plan, have a reliable source here to receive watches and warning information here. And if you're in the heat today, okay, if you are in an area where you are under an extreme heat warning, you know, it feels like 110 outside and you're outside all day, be mindful here. Hydrate, drink lots of water. Don't be drinking alcohol. Don't be, drinking energy drinks. That's not hydration. Here, drink water, okay? Because again, heat can be a silent killer, and it can really mess your system up if you're outside for prolonged periods here. So be mindful, be smart today if you're in the heat and if you're out with the opportunity for seeing severe weather today. And for 4th of July weekend here, a lot of people are going to be traveling. A lot of people are going to be doing outdoor activities, shooting fireworks and stuff like that. Again, be mindful of being in the heat. Be mindful if you're in an area where there is going to be storms or severe weather here. So on a note, to wrap up this video here and to kind of just go do an overview of today's setup here. Again, from southern Minnesota to northern central Michigan is going to be the best area of seeing intense severe weather today, mainly in the form of damaging winds and large hail. Again, the tornado threat will have to be monitored because depending on how this morning goes with the recovery behind this morning's complexes of storms will depend on the overall ceiling for the tornado potential from a more conditional, localized standpoint versus a widespread scale. All right. But yeah, that's where the best area for severe weather today is. And there's still a few uncertainties, but that should get ironed out as we go through the day. So on that note here, if you don't follow me on my X, on my Twitter at DaleSamsWX2, follow me there here. And again, stay safe if you're going to be outside.